नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter number 11, Sloka number 20. This is continuation of Lord Ramachandra's pastime, and it was discussed how Lord Ramachandra he left the planet and entered into his own abode, or in other words, he unmanifested his pastimes. So before that, Sita Devi has already left, and he had ruled for 13,000 years according to Bhagavatam. So he continues to speak about the glories of Ramachandra. Nedam yasho raghupate suryanchakt lila tanoradhik same vimukta dhamnaha raksho vadhe jal dhibandhanamastra pugai kim tasya shatruhanane kapaya sahaya. So he says that it is not a great thing or glorification, it is not a big glory for Lord Ramachandra that he appeared in human form on the request of Devas, and he killed the Asuras, and he made a setu or a bridge over the ocean, and he was helped by the monkeys, Kapaya Sahaya. Why is that? He says, Adhik Samya Vimukta Dhamna. Because his Dhamna or his Prabhav, his power, his prowess is unsurpassable. Nobody is equal to him, and there is no question of somebody being more than him. So for such a person, therefore, it is not something very great, because one who is creating Brahmandas, it is not a big thing that he made one bridge. One who can create the universe, what is the great glory for him to make a bridge or kill few people? You can kill that by sending a virus. Don't need anything more than that. So he says, also he did not need the help of these monkeys, Kapaya Sahaya. Yet he did that to show his devotion to his devotees, to show the relationship between him and his devotees, to bring glories to his devotees. So therefore he performed all these activities. Otherwise, these things are not something very great for him. So as we have read in the Sandarbhas also, that the purpose for which Bhagavan appears in this material world is not so much to kill the Asuras, but to relate with his devotees. And that's why it was said in the previous verse that he left his feet for his devotees to meditate upon. So the purpose is that he performs these leelas so that devotees can relish talking about him, enacting these pastimes. So this is his Naralila, or his play, and through play he increases the bliss of his devotees. He appeared as son of Kausalya and Dashrath to give them pleasure. So they got the pleasure to have him as their small child and express their Vatsalya. So this is the real purpose, and this is what is more satisfactory than just killing the asuras. So this is his Leela, and in that of course he gives education, he guides, he shows by his own example. But the main thing is his dealings with his devotees. Whether they are devotees in Ayodhya or devotees like Hanuman and Sugriv outside Ayodhya. So therefore it says, Nedam Yasho Raghupate Suryancha. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Narlilatvaneva chamatkarakam tasya yasho madhuryam ashvadyate natu aishwarya drishtya ityah nedamiti. So the chamatkar or the wonder is in his Narlila, and that is what is relished by devotees, and not in this Aishwarya Leela. So Aishwarya is there, that is also worthy of glorification, but that is not so much touching to the heart as his Narlila. And that's why Lord Ramachandra is so famous. So of all the avatars, it is only Ramchandra and Krishna Chandra who are most famous, these two. Others are not so famous because they are not performing Narlila like them. They came and they did some particular act and then they left. They did not become part of the society. They did not live with people of this earth. So they remained distant. That is the meaning of Aishwarya, means which creates distance, because they are known as regulator, controller, Ishvara. So they do not mingle or mix. Even Vaman Dev seemingly appear as a human being, but even when he appeared, Kashyap and Aditi were worshipping him. Indra also knew, and he stayed that small boy not for a very long time. Then he became Trivikram. So now there was no chance of anyone thinking he is my son or he is my brother. So therefore he says that this Aishwarya is not so relishable as the Narlila. So that is the Chamatkar, that's what brings wonder in the heart of the devotees. And Yasho Madhuryam Ashvadyate, then they relish the sweetness of his Narlila, his human-like activities. Natu Aishwarya Drishtya ityah nedami asamyageva attatano nitya grihit lila vigrahasya. So he has form, but he manifested it here on earth. Therefore he says Nitya Grihita, Narlila is eternally human being. Rakshasho Ravanasya Vadha iti idam yashastutir na bhavati. So just killing Ravana is not the only glory for him. Tatra hetu adhik samyabhyam vimuktam dhama prabhava yasya tasya kim kapaya sahaya. So his prabhav, his prowess is beyond anyone else's. No one is equal or superior, and therefore how can the monkeys help him? Yet he showed it like this, that sometimes Lakshman fainted or he himself fainted, then Hanuman is coming and helping. He was also kidnapped. Ram and Lakshman were kidnapped by Ahiravana, supposed to be one son of Ravana, and took them to some lower planet. So then Hanuman went and he killed this Ahiravana and brought them back. So that looked like that Hanuman was more powerful because they were kidnapped and they were bound and put inside a prison. So this is just to give glory to his devotees. Tena narlilatva madhuryanaiva sarvam etad uppadyate iti bhava. So the meaning is that all this is established or achieved by his sweet pastimes as a nara or human being. Yasyamalam nripasadasu yasodhunapi gayanti aghagnam rishyo digibhendra pattam tamna kapala vasupala kirita justa padabjam raghupatim sharanam prapadye. So Sri Sukadeva Goswami says that I take shelter of the feet of Raghupati, whose feet they are worshipped by the rulers of heaven, Nagpala, and the rulers of earth, Vasupala, Kirita Justa, by touching their Kirita, their helmets to his feet, and his glories are sung even today in the assembly of kings. Yasya amlam nipasadasu yasodhunapi gayanti aghagnam rishayo digbhendra pattam. So the great sages who purify the sins of people, they are singing his glories, the kings are listening to his glories, and Digbhendra pattam means there are supposed to be 8 elephants which are called Dikpala. So the seat on top of them, that is praised or worshipped by these people, these rulers who are sitting on these elephants. So that is again to show that his Leela is still being recited. It is not that he was famous when he was there. Many times it happens, somebody becomes famous for a short period, and after some time everybody forgets. So some people are very, very famous, but for a limited period of time. But his fame is still being sung in many, many places, not only on earth, but even in higher planets. And Hanuman is always eager to hear his katha. So when Lord Ramachandra was leaving, then Hanuman was also joining him. So he says that you stay back here. So he says, how will I live without you? So he says, wherever there is a description of Lord Ram's pastimes, means he says my stories, then you listen to them. And this way you relish. So he likes to hear about his Ram Katha Vilasi. So in India it is a custom that when they do recitation of Ramayana or Ramcharitmanas, so they make a seat for Hanuman. And they sing a sloka which is to invite Hanuman. Aao Veer Hanuman. Right? Katha prarambh hota hai. Aao Veer Hanuman. So when they start, then he is invited, he is given the seat, and when it is closed, then they also tell him that okay, now it is over and you can take leave. So it is a regular practice, and it is believed that Hanuman is present. So I don't know now, but in our childhood, whenever they had this Ram Leela play, no one was allowed to smoke. Because in the villages, most people smoke this hookah. So it is very common. But when there is Ram Leela, no, because Hanuman is there, and Hanuman gets very angry if somebody smokes. So everybody was scared of smoking in Ramlila. So his katha therefore is still going on. So this is also the meaning that he appears in every yuga, or he has many avatars, because he manifests through his pastimes in the heart of his devotees, those who listen. So Ramam prapadyamanasya sarvotkarshamaha. So he says that he is showing the superiority of a person who has taken shelter of Rama. Yasya nirmalam yashaha nirpanam yudhishtiradinam sadassu rishayo markandeya adiyo gayanti. So when Sukadeva Goswami spoke Bhagavatam, it was after Yudhishthira Maharaj has left, but he says that his story was being recited in the kingdom of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So in the assembly of Yudhishthira Maharaj, Rishyo Markandeya Adiyo Gayanti. Sages like Markandeya, they recite it. So if you read Mahabharata, then there is a mention there when Yudhishthira Maharaj was in the forest in exile for 14 years, many sages came to see him. Markandeya is one of them. And they used to pacify him. And Markandeya recited to him the story of Ramachandra. So there is a big section in Mahabharata which describes Lord Ramachandra's pastimes. Because he said that you are feeling so unhappy and morose. Look, even Ramachandra, who is God, who is Bhagavan, he has to wander in forest with his wife alone. You at least have 4 brothers, he only had 1 with him. And at least you are tricked by Duryodhana. He left because of his father's statement. He doesn't have to go. So he faced so many problems. His wife was kidnapped, he has to fight. So don't despair like this. So just to console, when you hear some other story who has also gone through trouble, then it gives you some courage to face the situation. Otherwise people think that why all these problems are coming to me only. Everybody else seems to be happy. So many people face problems. So Digibhendra Pattam Patta Shabdasya Asan Vachitvat Diggajendra Arudham Ityartha. So he says these elephants here refer to the riders on them. Tena yashaha sarva digvijaya vijayi senani tvam uktam. So what does it signify? Why specifically these Dikpalas or these elephants on the 8 sides have been mentioned? He says this is to show that his fame spread in all directions. That is the implied sense of this. Then Nakpala Devendradya, the word Naka. Naka means, मुंबई में नाका क्या बोलते हैं? वहाँ भी है ना नाका? नाका नहीं है? I used to see it there on the.
Oh, ये नाका means गली.
Right? Yeah, I remember. So Naka means heaven. And Nakpal means Indra. So why Naka is called heaven? Because Ka means happiness, Kam Sukham. And Aka means not happiness. And Naka means not happiness. which means happiness. So that is Swarga. So therefore Nagpala means Indra. So Devendradya, Vasupala, Narendrascha. And Vasupala here means Vasudhapala. Vasu refers to Vasudha, earth, which Bhupala, the kings, Narendra. Tesham Kirita Justam Padabjam Yashyatam. So, whose lotus feet were touched by the helmets of all these kings. Tam Justamiti Raghupateriti Pathe Tattasya Ityartha. So, instead of, there is a different reading here. Kirita Justam instead of Justa Padabjam. So then meaning is same anyway. Now in the next sloka he describes his another glory. So it says Sayai sprishto bhidrishto va samvishto anugato piva kausalaste yayusthanam yatra gachanti yoginah. So anyone who touched him or who saw him or who sat down with him, means conversed, or who followed him, then all these people of Kaushala, Ayodhya, they went to that place where only yogis go. So meaning is that everybody got moksha. They all became free. So just as in case of Krishna it is described that all those people, Yam Varen Nirpatiya Sushupala Ponder Salvadya. So even those people who were enemies of Krishna, Shishupal, Pondrak, Shalva, so they all attained moksha. So here it says that anyone who came in contact with him, they all became liberated. So Samvishta Sakhyat Yai Sahavishta Shaitova. So Samvishta means who sat with him as a friend or lied down. Te Kaushal Desh Vasina Yogino Bhakti Yogvanta Sthanam Vaikuntha. So all these people of Kaushala, they all attained Vaikuntha. And Yatra Gachanti Yogina, so he says that the yogi here means Bhakti yogis, the devotees, because only devotees enter there. So they all reached that place of Lord Ramachandra, from where no one comes back. So this is his special mercy. Of course, most of the people who are in Kausala, they are all his associates. But if they were not, some from outside, they also got.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that in the Pasam of Ramchandra, everybody gets moksha. But in the Pasam of Krishnachandra, Krishna arranged that everybody goes to Pravasa and then
Everybody got?
goes to Pravasa and
Supravasa?
Pravasa. They go to Pravasa and then they Kshetra and then they leave the body there. He didn't allow anybody to leave the body.
Leave the body where?
Wherever they were, in Dwarka. So he
No, but
created them to go to Prabhasa and then...
But those who are in Vrindavan, they don't go to Prabhas.
No, the other people I'm talking about.
There also not everybody went there. The ladies did not go there. The wives, they were brought. It's only the men who fought, and ladies don't fight.
Yeah, but I'm saying that why were they not? Because it's mentioned there that he purposely told them to, like, he arranged in such a way that they go to Prabhasa so that if they're here, then they cannot go back to the spiritual world.
Yes.
And if they were in Prabhasa, then...
So the meaning is that Dwarka is his eternal place, right? So when he took them to Prabhas Kshetra, The meaning is that at that time his eternal associates, they became unmanifest. And in the eternal associates, they were also the demigods who came to participate. So they are the one who went to Prabhasa, and on the pretext of killing each other, they went back. So that is the meaning of this pastime, that he separated them. So Dwarka harina takta samudra plavishyati kshanat. So there it is said that samudra plavishyati vina mahara bhagavad alayam, that the sea will plunge Dwarka into water except the palace of Bhagavan. So the palace means the real Dwarka will not be plunged into water, that will become unmanifest. So the Bhaum Dwarka is the one which went inside the water, and the eternal Dwarka became unmanifest. So this is just a way to show how the unmanifestation happened and how they were separated. So here also it is shown that they all entered into Saryu river. And when they were entering into the Saryu river, they will go inside the water and come out and sit on the plain. So just a way of showing that they...
I was differentiating between both pastimes and trying to
So they are also...
all of them, and he separated the others. So that was my question.
Separated which?
In the sense, only his associates he took, and the others who were in the pastime, they were separate. Yeah. So I was wondering, Ramchandra is more merciful than Krishna, or?
No, in Ramchandra, they maybe he also separated, not showing them. Because he also wants to show that by drinking, you fight. Right? People drink and then they fight. So this, he wanted to show that. You could have separated them without that also. So Purusho Ramacharitam Shravanairupdharayan Anirshanshaparo Rajan Karma Bandhair Vimuchyate. So now he is describing the glory of Ramcharita, that anyone who hears, Shravanairupdharayan means upholds by hearing this Ramcharita. So Anirshansha Paro Rajan Karmbandhai, and if he is not cruel, means he is not, what would you say, envious, then he becomes free from the bondage of karma. So whenever there is some story is told, then you also have to tell the benefit of hearing it. Because people are very much interested in that part, to hear. Why shall I do this? Otherwise better I watch TV. So therefore they have to be Rochnartha Falashruti. So to give you some taste so that you also like to hear it, then it is described like that. Sometimes there are more than one verses that if you are a Brahmana, you will get knowledge, if you are Kshatriya, you will get kingdom, if you are a Vaisya, you will get wealth, all these types. If you are looking for a wife, you will get wife, if you are looking for... So they make a big list of things what all you can get. Because people in the material world, they are always looking for something. So then they become happy that, okay, I can get this. So parokshvado vedoyam balanam anushashanam karmokshay karmani vidatte hi agdo yatha. So this is parokshvad, and it tells things like this so that you can become free from karma. It says karma bandha vimuchyate karmokshay karmani vidhatte hi agdo yatha. Just like you praise medicine, so if you say take some ginger and some lemon and some other things, boil them in water, then it will give you protection from corona. So when things are praised, then you will take, otherwise you may not take. So here it is said. So Ramcharita is non-different from Rama, and by hearing it, one becomes purified. So Ram Nam gives purification from impurities of the heart. Especially he says Anirshansha Paro, means you become Nirmatsara, you become free from cruelty. So therefore you don't harm others, which is one of the cause of bondage to karma, karma bandhan. Right? One of the way you get karma bandhan is by harming others. Then you get bound. So if you are not having cruel nature, if you are not envious, jealous, hateful, then you don't do that. So you remain free. So this is what Ramcharita shows, that how he was not envious at all himself. Because if he was envious, egoistic, then he would not go to forest. He will think, what is this? I am the natural heir of my father and being eldest. Why I am being thrown away from that? And who is this Bharat? And if his mother has some boons to take, then it is between her and her husband. It has nothing to do with me. So then he would not go. So he showed that how he was not envious at all. And he was very loving and kind to everybody. He took care of all, being very tolerant himself. So one of the things which we can learn from his life is that he is very tolerant. So he himself tolerated others' mistakes, like the washerman. So it is washerman who is being critical for nothing. He should first investigate before speaking. But he is just finding fault without any cause. Sita Devi was spotless. She has proven her character. And it is known from the story also. Ravana was actually cursed by Vedavati because he tried to rape her. So then she cursed that in future if you touch any woman without her consent, then you will drop dead. Otherwise one would wonder why Ravana did not take Sita to his palace. Why was she kept outside Lanka? He actually did not even take Sita inside Lanka. She was kept in this garden, Ashok Vatika, because he had a curse. So that means there is no possibility that her chastity was violated by Ravana, and then there is no question of anyone else doing any harm to her chastity. So there was no doubt on her character. So it was completely unwarranted for this washerman to speak like this. And even on top of that, then Lord Ramachandra made Sita Devi to pass through fire to prove her chastity. so that others don't doubt. But still, no matter how pure you are, no matter how spotless you are, people will still find fault. Even Lord Krishna was not spared. Even Balram doubted him. When it came to Syamantak Mani, Balram also had a doubt. And maybe this guy has actually taken it, because you never know, he's very playful. Because he had once asked this to Satyajit, that you give this to me, why you have it? So he says no, so he says okay. So he thought that maybe he has made some game and he got him killed and he got the... Balram was also doubtful, he was not speaking, but inside he had a doubt. So Krishna, who should have become the king after killing Kamsa, who did not become but made Ugrasena as the king, so you think that he is now going to kill this guy just for some gem? But people were talking like this. So he has to work very hard to prove that he has not killed this Prasenjit. Or Prasenjit is the one who was killed by the lion, right? In the forest. So, but Bhagavatam says that people were talking, so even his own devotees were talking like that. So if human beings get criticized, what is the big deal? Even Krishna was criticized. And the criticism does not stop till now. Right? Continues. Something or the other, why did he do this, why did he do that? Because human mind has their own nature and they have their own concept of what is right and what is wrong. And they measure from that, they compare with their own concept, that's super-id, according to Freud. So everybody is programmed in a certain way to think. Actually, even children are born with certain type of wrong and right concept. And then they get more programmed as they grow up. So then everybody judges with that. It's natural. Anybody who has intelligence will judge. No matter how much you say don't judge. Even those who say don't judge are judging. Because you cannot live without that. So nobody gets spared. So that's why Lord Ramachandra, although he tried to live without any deviation, at least in case of Krishna, you can say, well, he did so many things which don't fit within the jurisdiction of morality or ethics or principles. He would steal, he did things like this. But Ramachandra was a serious person. Right? He lived like what you call Dhirodatta hero. He is the perfect example of Dhirodatta. So Datta means supreme, superior, high class character. That is called Dhirodatta hero. So his character is high class, spotless, dharmic, who sticks to the principles of dharma and can take any amount of pain or sacrifice his own comfort for dharma. That is called Dhirodatta. So he was like that, but still he was criticized. So in any case, from his example, we learn this. It inspires people to be dharmic, his story. So that is the meaning of Ram Rajya. Ram Rajya does not mean that there was a strict Rajya kingdom and therefore there was no criminals. So Ramrajya means that the leader was so great that he purified the heart of his subjects so that there was no crime. You can also reduce crime by fear, by punishment. So that's not Ramrajya. Ramrajya means that people were naturally peaceful and highly renounced. That's why they followed him when he wanted to give up his kingdom and installed his two sons. Then they all followed him because they said, we cannot be without you. So this is difficult to understand now. We don't see this kind of attachment or this kind of love even between family members, husband, wife, brothers, sisters. The type of love, affection and surrender the subjects of Ramchandra had for him, and also he had for them. It's not that he did not have. So this is difficult. Now it is so difficult that two people can live peacefully. But here the whole kingdom was like that. So this is because of the character of Bhagavan Ramchandra, that is the Ramcharita. So therefore the word Charita is important here. He did not use the word Ram Leela, but Charita. So Charita means that behavior which can be emulated, which is an ideal behavior. That is the meaning of Charita. So generally you hear Krishna Leela and Ramcharita. Although it is also Ram Leela, but it's common in India that for Lord Ramchandra's pastime you have the word Charita or Charitra. As here you can see Ramcharitam. The book is also called Ramcharitmanas. So this is the difference, that his important thing was his personal action. So Ramadivat Vartitavyam. See the famous principle of Indian plays. This is the main theme of the plays, the kavya, the poetry of India in Sanskrit. That Ramadivat Vartitavyam natu Ravanadivat. That one should act like Ramchandra. He is the ideal example. So then naturally you will become free from karma bandhan. So this is the meaning of Shravanair Upadharayan. He did not say just hearing. Of course hearing also purifies, but actually to take it in through the ears. Shravanair Upadharayan means to hold it inside you through the ears, which means that you take it to your heart, and then that becomes your guiding principle for behaving in your life. At present we do not have ideals in our life. This is one of the things which is missing in the modern life. That there are no ideal people, leaders whom you can follow. Most of the time the leaders are just being criticized. They may be praised for a short period, but most of the time they are criticized. So there are no good examples to follow, because nobody sacrifices like Rama sacrificed. He was not king just because he wanted to enjoy power, but he was actually the king who wanted to serve people, who was concerned about the welfare of people. That's why he gave up his wife. He was so worried that if I don't do this, then people will start doing wrong things and give me as an example. And he did not want that because he knew that that will bring ruination in the life of people. It will destroy dharma. So that is the concern he had. So that shows his mindset. Otherwise, what was the need for him to go at night and listen what people are talking or how is his kingdom? Because usually people in the evening they sit down and they talk. It's like these days also in India, people in the evening sit down in front of TV and they talk. So in the olden days, also people used to gather together and then they talk their daily life or what is going on and they discuss. So he was hearing this to understand his own subjects. What kind of problems they are facing, what are their desires, what can I do to improve their life, to make them more dharmic. That's why he was going around incognito at night. It's not that he just did it one day and that day itself, washerman talks like that. No, he must have gone regularly. Besides having his own secret service, which all kings had. So this is the type of kings who existed before, and that's why they are remembered now. Of course, as time passed, then kings also became very corrupt, and they became concerned only about their own pleasure and taxing people and exploiting them and not thinking about their welfare. So that human nature becomes degraded without education and without proper guiding principle. So in India they had the sages who were not kings, but they would control them. And these sages obviously were very renounced, so they also were concerned about the welfare of the society. So if they saw that some king is not doing well, as in case of Vena, so then they will also uproot him by their power. Or at least they will come and guide them. That's why in Bhagavatam you see many times the sages, even Kumaras, Narada Rishi, Parvata, right? We hear they come and they meet the kings. Why are they coming to the kings? Not that they need something from them, but just to see if the king is doing all right, if he needs some guidance. It was a type of check of power. So this is how Lord Ramachandra's pastime is being described here. So on this, King Parikshit, he posed a question after hearing this. From Sukadeva point of view, he has completed the description. And of course, he did not go in much details, but incidentally he has spoken while describing the lineage of the kings. So Raja Uvacha, the king said, Katham sa Bhagavan Ramo bhratrin va swamatmanah tasmin vate anvartanta praja paurascha ishvare. So the king asked this question, that how is it that Bhagavan Ram, he behaved with his brothers, and how did they behave with him? Tasmin vate anvartanta. And prajaha paurascha ishvara. And how did the subjects, the residents of his capital, they behave towards him? So this is the question he has asked. So one of the characteristic of Indian stories is that they do not end in what you call tragedy or death. So now the way Sukadeva Goswami ended was that everybody just left. So Parikshit did not like that. He said, this is not a good way to end the story of Lord Ramachandra. So he therefore, there was no need of this, it was already explained. But he said, this does not look very nice. But suddenly you say that, well, he left and everybody left with him. So he brings it back. Or in other words, he wants to get more juice out of Lord Ramachandra's Leela, his charit, his stories. So therefore he asks questions. Like the calf when he's drinking milk. So he's drinking, then in between he hits the udder, get more milk. So the cow will release more milk. So he is trying to get more, not satisfied. So Atmano Bhratrin Pathi Katham Avartata Swam va Katham Avartata Tasminte Bhratradya Katham Avartanta iti Prashnatraya. So he says that how did he behave towards his brothers and Swam va Katham Avartat Atmano Bhratrin Pati. What is Swam va Katham Avartat? It is the same. So Tasminte Bhratradya Katham Avartanta. How the brothers behaved towards him, how he behaved towards them. And Swam va Katham. I think the second one is for the people probably. So Katham se Bhagwan Ramo Bhratrin va Swayam Atmana Bhratrin Swam Katham Tasmin Vate Anuvartanta Prajapaurascha Ishvare. To me it looks that there are three questions: how he behaved with his brothers, how they behaved towards him, and how he behaved himself. So he makes three questions here, that how did he behave towards his brother and how did he behave in general and how did his brothers behave towards him. So Swam va Katham Avartata means what was his behavior or his character and what was his behavior towards his brother and what was the behavior of his brothers towards him. Iti Prashnatraya, he says there are three, maybe you can add one more. How did the people behave towards him? Because it says Prajapaurascha Ishvare. How did the people behave towards him? So these are the questions. So now Sukadeva Goswami he replies. Athadishat Digvijaye Bhratrins Tribhuneshwaraha Atmanam Darshayan Swanam Purim Akshata Sanugaha. So he ordered his brothers to do Digvijaya. So Digvijaya means going around and conquering the kingdom. So these days this question is raised many times by the modern social scientists or political scientists. They say that India was never one unified country. It was always divided into small kingdoms. So we have to understand that India had a different system, and there was a system of what you call as state and country at present. So just as you have different states, and then there is a whole country, and the country is also called state, like you have in the United States of America. So there are states. So states are like different kingdoms. They also have their own law, and then there is a federal government. So they had a similar system like that. And the uniting principle was dharma, what you may call as the central constitution of a country. So India was guided by dharma. And then there were kings which were called Chakravarti Samrat. So this was the meaning of Chakravarti Samrat. Chakravarti means all around. Chakra means, chakra means round. Means he is ruling all over. But he is not ruling in the sense as we think of a king ruling. Every king under him was actually independent. But his duty was to make sure that so-called the constitution, which is the dharma, is being followed by these kings under him. And they would participate in some big festivals, and they may bring gifts for him. That's how it worked. So it was in a way decentralized. So now the Zoom is finished. Okay, it came back. So it was a system which was a little bit similar to now what you have, like a country with many states in it. But there was not so much central control as we have at present, that there is a capital of the whole country and then everything is controlled from there. So the Chakravarti Samrat, as Ramchandra, he says that he sent his brothers to go around and conquer. So this conquering was not just to capture the kingdom, but to establish Ram as the authority. Means these kings will rule, they will continue to rule, and people are devoted to their own king, but they have to accept the sovereignty of Ramchandra. So it is in this sense that India was one, not in the political sense at present, what you call as that political it is one country. It was never like that. It was not the politics, but it was the dharma, which was the unifying principle. So they all followed Varnashrama, and that was the basic constitution. And within that there were different smritis, because it was also not just one constitution. There were different smritis. Smritis were like the constitution which were followed in the different parts of India. Different smritis were popular in different parts, which also makes sense, because even at present there are about 20 smritis which are available, which are like the constitution books. So many of them have same thing, most of the things are common, but still there are variations. So that means according to the place, according to the weather conditions, there were different rules. Although the basic principle you will find same in them. So this is how the ruling was done. So it was not that they had a centralized army of the country, but every king had their own army. So Atmanam Darshayan Swanam Purim Akshata Sanugaha. So he sent them, and he himself stayed in the kingdom and was giving his darshan to the people of his kingdom, and was also maintaining them. I think now the internet is dropping. So we'll stop here because internet, I think after 1 hour gets tired. Because yesterday also it dropped after 1 hour. Okay, we'll stop here. Anybody has any question? All right.
Babuji?
Yes.
If I may, I wanted to ask about this episode with the washerman. Maybe you could briefly explain once again how.
Yes. It's get hot.
Thought badly about Sita. But
Okay.
then when he sent Sita to the forest,
Wait,
seems to me that
wait.
everyone would start thinking
Wait. I lost the connection, so please say it again.
I can hardly hear you. So shall I repeat my question?
Yes, I did not hear your question.
Oh, the connection is very bad. Can you hear me, Babaji?
Yes, now I can hear.
Okay, so my question was that, so before Ramachandra gave up Sita and sent her to the forest, there was only one person, that washerman, who was thinking that she was unchaste, and then Lord Ram gave her up by sending her to the forest. So it seems to me that everyone would start thinking like that, that she is actually unchaste. So maybe you could just briefly explain how giving up Sita and sending her to the forest helped to uphold Dharma in that situation.
So why you say that when he sent her away, everyone started thinking like that? Why do you say that?
Well, that is what, well, at least this is my thinking, that because before that everyone was happy in Ayodhya, and no one had any doubt about Sita's chastity, because her chastity was tested after the battle. So then, since Ram sent her to the forest and gave her up, that means the reason behind that, or at least this is what I understood, is that he wanted to show that if she's actually unchaste, then he gives her up to.
This connection is dropping. Anyway, this is not how it happened. So your understanding is not correct. It is not that when he gave her up, then people started thinking that Sita is not chaste. That's not true. Actually, they became more, what you call, praiseworthy? No, not praiseworthy, but praiseful.
Reverential.
Yeah, reverential of Sita. Because they knew it. There are few people who were talking, and even they changed their mind once they saw that Lord Ramchandra is so fixed for dharma that just by hearing, it's dropping all the time. Anyway, the connection is not good, so I will just say that that's not what people thought as you are thinking.
Yeah, the connection is very bad, so I guess I will just listen to the recording on Facebook if Maldi G puts it. If she uploads it, I will listen.
Yeah. So anyway, I had spoken earlier on this point in much detail, but all I can say is that it is not that people, they became more doubtful on Sita's chastity after she was abandoned. It is just the opposite. That even those people who had some doubt about her, they gave up that doubt because they understood that Ramchandra is not attached to her and wants to stick to dharma, and Sita is not revolting against him, she is devoted to him. This is what people understood. So you have to also try to see an incident from the mindset of the people of those times, because generally we think that this is how they would have thought or this is how they would have behaved, but they and we are different people. Their mindset, their thinking, their upbringing, their experiences, they are much different than ours. So they thought in a different manner. And therefore Lord Ramachandra, he understood what is the best action to take. In the present situation, maybe he would have taken a different action. But certainly it is nowhere it is described that people became more doubtful of Sita's chastity after she was abandoned. Rather it is described that she was worshipable, everybody respected her. Okay, so we'll stop.